Welcome to part 2 of this 5-part tutorial series covering our workflow for converting 2-dimensional map and GIS data into 3-dimensional interactive environments. In this part, we will be preparing and making sure our data is appropriate and ready to be modified in the preceding parts. Start off by checking to make sure your data and shapefiles can be read by Archaeological. These data formats you acquired in the previous part of this tutorial. Bring both the LiDAR or DEM data in, as well as any and all shapefiles to be used in the reconstruction. ArcScene is a 3D version of ArcMap, and it will be necessary to make sure that we can export our locational data in the following parts, as well as making sure our data not only opens, but has the correct height values assigned to the LiDAR data. Thus, we will need to test to see if we can give height values to these files. After giving your LiDAR or DEM data height information, follow suit for your shapefiles using the LiDAR and DEM data as your height map. Assuming both types of data can be given height values and can open in ArcScene, you can move on to the next step. With the LiDAR or DEM data, make sure that it is set up for grayscale imagery, with the highest point being white and the lowest part being black within ArcMap. Additionally, you will want to take measurements of the scale of the area you will be reconstructing. Using the measuring tool set up to measure in meters, make sure that you measure the height and the width of your terrain, or the length and width. The data does not need to be a perfect square or even rectangle in shape, but you will want to make sure you get the measurements for the maximum distance in meters for both the north-south and east-west measurements. Again, this needs to be in meters. Additionally, using the values of the LiDAR data, get the height difference from the maximum and minimum values. Simply use the side where the white value is indicated, or the grayscale bar, and subtract the lowest value, black, from the white value, which is the highest. This distance will be your height. Again, you will want to make sure this value is in meters, not feet or inches. With this, the LiDAR/DEM data is prepared. With the shapefiles, we still need to do a few things within ArcMap. As the shapefiles will be serving as our footprints of structures, features, and artifacts that we will want the coordinates for in the reconstruction, these need to be duplicated, twice for each separate shapefile. This is to make sure the original data is not tampered with, and to make sure that if something goes wrong, we have data that we can still use. Additionally, we are duplicating the data for two reasons. One will serve as anchor points that we will need in order to keep the locational data from ArcMap all the way to Unity, and the other will be serving as our actual base for our structures. For the purposes of this tutorial series, the first duplicate will be named Anchor, and the second will be named buildings. Once all of the files have been successfully duplicated twice, your files will be prepared for Part 3 through Part 5. Welcome to Part 2 of this 5-part tutorial series covering our workflow for converting 2-dimensional map and GIS data into 3-dimensional interactive environments. In this part, we will be preparing and making sure our data is appropriate and ready to be modified in the preceding parts. Start off by checking to make sure your data and shapefiles can be read by ArcScene. These data formats you acquired in the previous